Have breaking news just into the newsroom about the shooter at Florida State University. According to the Associated Press, a law enforcement official says it was a lawyer who graduated from the school.
The official says his name is Myron May. He graduated from FSU, then attended Texas Tech University's law school. A woman, Abigail Taunton, told the Associated Press May had recently been staying at a guest house she owns in a rural area of the Florida Panhandle. We're digging into his background right now. We'll have updates throughout the hour. Our next update from police on the shootings at Florida State University comes in 3 hours. There'll be a news conference at 3 o'clock. Watch it live on Channel 4 and news4jax.com.
Just to recap what happened early this morning, just after midnight, students in the campus library huddled among bookshelves and some blocked doorways, as you can see in this video shot by a student, as they heard announcements about the shooting and got alerts on their phones. The frightening scene recorded on this cell phone video. Within the last hour, Governor Rick Scott made a statement in Tallahassee.
We live in a world today that is always moving on to the next thing. I want to encourage everyone to take time and process the tragedy that happened here last night and not simply ignore it. This will ultimately be the most important thing you can do to move forward, grow stronger, and appreciate each and every precious day given to us by our Almighty God.
Now we have crews in Tallahassee covering the shooting and crews here in Jacksonville looking at safety concerns on other campuses. We begin with Channel 4's Kumasi Aaron. Kumasi.
Well, right now, the investigation here at the Stroger Library is still ongoing. I just want to step aside and show you what it looks like right now. You see investigators here on those front steps. This is where the confrontation between the shooter and police happened around 12:30 this morning. They've been here since that time collecting evidence because right now they still have a lot of unanswered questions. Now, earlier today, they did not want to reveal who the shooter was. We've recently gotten an update from the Associated Press that the gunman was Myron May, who graduated from Florida State before attending Texas Tech University's law school. Another big question that we had here, who exactly or where exactly did he shoot the victims? Police said the suspect fired the shots both inside and outside of the library. They wouldn't say exactly where the students were shot, but the final confrontation with police happened right here on the steps of the library. It started around 12:30 when police got the call about shots being fired and about someone being injured. And when they got to the library, they saw the gunman here outside on the steps. Police say they asked May to put the gun down. He did not, and that's when they say he fired one shot at officers and officers fired back, killing him. Now, another big question, who exactly are these victims? We do know that they are 3 students here at FSU, but we don't know if they're male or female. We don't know how old they are. And police right now don't know if they were targeted at random or if, the shooter sought them out specifically. We do know that 2 of them are in local hospitals right now. The other one was grazed by a bullet, treated on scene, and released. Now, we want to show you some video that we shot earlier today just to show you this investigation has been really ongoing since it happened. Police told us that this is just the beginning of their investigation. The Tallahassee Police Department says they're going to spend the day interviewing witnesses. The homicide team is here on scene, as well as the forensic team, just trying to piece together evidence because they say it's critical right now to get as much as they can from the crime scene. In the meantime, students I spoke with on campus who witnessed this chaos say they are just really shaken up.
I was walking from the parking lot to Stroger, and I was about halfway there when I heard, there was like sirens in the background, but you always kind of hear sirens in the background. And I heard like 50 like really loud like firecrackers. I don't really know what it was. And before I could even process it, 2 girls just like ran toward me, and they were like booking it. And they told me like there's someone was shot around Stroger, and just to get out of here. And I was standing still for a little. I didn't know what to do.
At first, I didn't believe it because the 4th floor is like a quiet floor, and usually people don't talk. So I'm like, why is this girl talking? But yeah, we heard sirens, and then we kind of panicked a little, and we saw the lights, cop cars flashing. And then we looked outside the window and saw cops running around on the ground with giant guns. And then we were like, oh, this is probably a threat we should take seriously. I started shaking immediately, and I didn't stop shaking. I think I'm still shaking right now, but I shook a lot, and then I started tweeting, and it was really hard to tweet between shaking, but I felt like people needed to know what was going on.
Is social media a big part of this, just getting the word out? As you can see here, the investigation is still ongoing. Fire rescue here along with investigators who have been here since the incident happened. Campus, they say they are providing assistance and counselors for students here who need it, and also campus police stepping up just the presence of officers here on campus to help students kind of cope with this and try to heal from this. In the meantime, we're waiting for an update from campus police. We're expected to get that around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Reporting live in Tallahassee, Kumasi Aaron, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Kumasi. University of Florida President Bernie Machen released a statement about the shooting at FSU. It reads, "We are truly saddened by today's shootings at Florida State University. I know everyone in the University of Florida community joins me in sending our heartfelt thoughts and prayers to the victims and to the entire FSU community. Today, we are all FSU."
About 2 hours ago, FSU students gathered on campus for a prayer circle, coming together around the Landis Fountain, which is just outside the library. Hundreds of students and faculty members, they prayed, sang, held hands, really just trying to comfort each other following the tragedy. Channel 4's Elizabeth Campbell is in Tallahassee and is joining us now from campus with a look at how students are doing. Elizabeth.
Well, Jen, these students are definitely staying strong, being there for one another, and really holding it together during this difficult time. They say they know it's going to take quite a while to be able to move forward from this tragedy, but they say they're going to do it together as Seminoles. Now, the library is behind us, where we still have police tape all around this library and throughout the campus here in this area. And that prayer circle you're talking about happened in the fields back this way. You can actually probably see some people still gathering. There's probably at least 100 people still there, but earlier this morning at 10 o'clock when the prayer circle happened, there were at least 500 students there. Also faculty members, people from the community, people just wanting to come get together and go through this together, because this morning people were waking up in their homes and their dorms by themselves or just with their roommates, and they're needing comfort. Now, a lot of students we talked to said that they woke up this morning to text and calls from parents, family members, even saying that people from other schools across the country were reaching out to them on social media to make sure that they were doing okay and to say, hey, we're here for you. One girl I spoke with even said that she had people from the University of Florida reach out to her and say, you know, typically we are rivals, but in something like this, we are with you, we are one, we are together. Also heard from people who said that they're feeling a little bit confused. That's why they're relying on each other to get through this. They said everybody handles their emotions differently, so they're trying to talk it out and just spend time with one another so they can understand how to get through this. At the end of this all, though, at the prayer ceremony, they prayed for their campus, they prayed for each other, and most importantly, they say that they prayed for the 3 who were injured, specifically the 2 who were taken to the hospital, and they prayed for strength and courage for their families to get through this difficult time. They also said when they looked around, everybody was holding hands in this prayer circle, hundreds of them, and one student said, this just shows me what exactly it means to be a part of this Florida State campus, because this is a symbol of the bond that we have together. So again, it's going to be a very difficult time for them, but they are finding ways to come together and try and move forward. Reporting live from Tallahassee, Elizabeth Campbell, Channel 4, the local station.
Yep, thank you, Elizabeth. And she was just talking about Landis Field. I just want to give you some perspective, if I could, on the campus itself. So this is a map you see here. So this is Florida State University. It is 460 acres. And here, for those of you who maybe have attended a game there, and there's one this weekend. In fact, here's the stadium that gives you some perspective. This is right here. This is the library as well as Landis Field, where those gathered, hundreds gathered, as Elizabeth just mentioned, in prayer. And then also here is the Capitol building in Tallahassee, just to show you. And also, you know, the Capitol is only about a half a mile or so, a walk, in fact, for students who might venture over to the Capitol. Now, let's take a closer look at where this shooting occurred. Now, we know that there were shots fired inside as well as outside of the library early this morning at 12:30. We also know that Myron May, according to the Associated Press, who's just identified him as such, he was shot here by officers, by as many as 5 officers who were involved in the shooting. Still waiting to hear details about who fired and who hit him. That happened here. Landis Green is the area where Elizabeth just mentioned, where all of those students and faculty have gathered. And in fact, Bruce, we were hearing that there will probably very likely be another unity prayer that happens here later this afternoon. We, of course, will continue to bring everybody that information just as soon as we learn it. Bruce?
Alrighty, Jen, we've had some dramatic interviews with students who were in the library at the time of the shooting. And Mel, you had a chance to somebody who knows the man who was just now identified as the potential shooter, Myron May. What did he tell you?
You know, Bruce, I want to tell you because this young man is an attorney here locally in Jacksonville, and I gave him a call because I saw that he is actually a friend of Myron May on Facebook, and so I knew they had some connection. And he said that they went to school together. He described him as a mild-mannered man, someone who was always very nice, very polite, and someone who was smart. And at that point, he literally said he was speechless. He needed to get off the phone and kind of think over what happened, but he did say that he would talk with us more later. You know, this is just one account that we have heard this morning. We've heard several from students who were there in the library when this happened, and it is clear that this shooting has had a big impact on all of them, and your heart really goes out to these students because it's something that no one should have to deal with in a place that should be a safe house, a school library. These students described their initial reaction when they heard the gunshots and how quickly it escalated into panic. So listen as Daniel Morales describes what he heard.
I was in the second floor of the library. The shooting took place on the first floor, and at first I heard muffled shots, but I didn't know what to make of it. And then an alarm started going off, and I was talking to the person I had just met, and we were a little confused because there had been a fire alarm earlier in the year, so we thought it was another fire drill. And then I saw a man running towards me. He's like, "There's a gun, hide, like run." And at first I thought this was like a joke, and then I saw 10 other people behind him running with fear in their faces. So at this moment, we knew it was real.
And we also talked with a woman named Sammy Thompson, a student who's from Tampa. She was also there in the library and said she heard what sounded like a rapid firing of gunshots. She said she believes those were the shots fired by police at the shooter.
At that point, everyone just freaks out and runs to the back of the library. Everyone's hiding in the middle of the bookshelves. We end up closing all the double doors, and everyone's just kind of standing there waiting for further instructions from who knows who. But finally, the police department, Tallahassee Police Department, comes on the intercom, and they reassured us that to stay calm, that there was a shooting on campus, the gunman is now in custody, and please remain where you are and wait for further instructions.
And really just to show how it affected everyone, not only the people there in the library, but everyone on campus. We talked with someone named Carter Hess, who wasn't there in the library at the time, but he talked about how it is going to be difficult to get back to normal after the shooting. Also describing what it was like for those students who were nowhere near the library and how they found out about this shooting.
First thing we did was check Twitter, and we started seeing the FSU hashtag popping up that apparently there was someone firing shots in the library. And so very shortly after the alert got issued, and throughout the hall, people started poking their heads out and wondering what was going on, because I guess that it wasn't really on the internet yet, and no one really knew. And so we started telling people that it sounded like there were people shooting in the library.
And today, as we've mentioned, the school is open for counseling, and these students are really going to need this. A school shooting is something that they have read about, they've heard about, but never would have imagined that they'd be dealing with this at their own school. And again, about this local attorney who actually knows the shooter, Myron May, we are going to talk with him and bring you that tonight on our later newscast.